first time reading this?
Yes, it is.
All right. What do you think so far?
I like it.
Yeah? Have you made it to page 43? I know you were doing other things for
I
me.
was doing other stuff. I have not exactly made it.
What page are you on?
I made it through to like 37.
Okay, good.
It's talking about degrees of separation.
Okay. What have we learned so far about the traits? Sorry, do we have the audio on? I mean the tape on?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good. Thanks. What have we learned so far about traits that make people connectors? Who was the first connected guy the book talked about? Paul Revere.
I thought it was the young boy. And then he connected with Paul Revere. Because it all started with the young boy, right? And it all started with him. And then he talked to his friend Paul Revere. And then went on.
Right, you're right. It originated with him. But the connector that we've all known and heard about was Paul Revere.
Okay.
So yeah, you're right. Every relationship starts with an introduction. And different degrees of separation separate all people from knowing everybody. Is it a little bit amazing when you read this? Like, we've all heard about like the movie called 6 Degrees of Separation. But when you go back to Paul Revere and the Midnight Ride, we all learned that. That's one of those, for some reason, it's one of those parts of history class that most adults remember. Wonder why that is. I think it's partly because it's amazing to think that one guy could get out there on a horse late at night and alert an entire region who didn't have telephones, cell phones, internet, you know what I mean? They had nothing.
Yeah, because it started where he worked liberally stable, right? That means work with the horses and things like that. And it just carried on. But at a point, like you said, it stopped because it was rumors. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, he got the word. His ride spread the word.
Right.
Now, what about the guy named Dawes, who went out with the same message?
He went out with the same message, but he wasn't the one. Dawes wasn't. He didn't succeed.
Because why?
Because something went wrong with Dawes. Dawes sent the message another way.
Yes. He sent it a different way. What was the difference? Darlene, did you get to that part? Who remembers what the difference between the way Paul Revere decided to distribute the message and the way Dawes did?
I think he went to less popular places, small.
Dawes did, yeah.
Right. So they didn't really get what they needed at that time.
He knocked on any door he passed. And Revere had a strategy. Revere, long before Malcolm Gladwell's book, knew that certain people can get the word out quick. So he went to, what were they? They were like the ward leaders. They were the, did you catch the title? What?
Colonial leaders.
Yeah, they were the people, they were basically the people who had positions of authority in town government. And if you had a limited amount of time, imagine you're Paul Revere and you get tapped on the shoulder to get on your horse and go warn everyone in the Boston region that the enemy is coming. Like, whoa, what a responsibility, right? Dawes felt equally motivated and equally concerned, I'm sure, that he had a message that needed to get out there, and he did the best he could think of. He thought, I'll just tell everyone I see. And telling everyone you see is not a wrong way to spread a word. It's just not always the quickest way. Nothing wrong with telling everyone you see. But if you need to quickly get a lot of people to know something, Paul Revere knew what a connector was. A connector was someone who already had a group of people a big group of people they knew and had some influence over. And connectors tend to not just know a lot of people, they know who in their circle is also what? A connector. That's right. You got to get a word out quick. You don't just tell everyone, you tell other connectors, because other connectors are going to spread it like wildfire. Tim?
Yeah, would that be the same way? Like I know this. I'm a particular guy that used to live on my block, and he's the type of person. If you want to get something out, or you want him to know somebody's business, or you just mention to him, and he just tell everybody.
There's a family in my hometown. We'll just say their last name is Teller. That's not really it. I don't want to give it away. But the joke in the neighborhood is, growing up, back in the day, telephone, telegraph, teleteller. Like, you know what I mean? You wanted a message out. That person might also be a gossip, but they're probably a super connector as well. Now, I want to clarify. Not all super connectors or connectors are gossips. In fact, connectors are probably not very often gossips because so many people wouldn't like them and know them and interact with them. You're describing more of a busybody, which is not covered in the book. But that's what I would say about that. So, what do you think? Like, is it, when you go back and reread this story as an adult with a different reason, isn't it pretty amazing how quickly Paul Revere was able to get the word out? If you needed to spread the word about something in your life, who would you tell who's well connected to get the message across? Who would you tell?
Facebook.
Facebook? No, this has to go back to humans. No, I'm serious. Because Facebook is more like, it's a good topic, I'm glad you brought it up. Facebook is more, it's not personal. It's more of a busybody. Everybody knows everything everybody's doing on Facebook, but not because they're connected, just because they're looking at the computer screen. I'll give you the perfect example of the difference. I had one evening to spend this week with one of my favorite nieces. The other one's about to arrive soon, so let's not, mention it. One favorite, Alexandra, will be getting here shortly from the Boston area, actually. Maybe she wrote on and is writing in on Paul Revere's works. But I was with my other niece, Haley, on Tuesday night, and we went to a show in New York. We went out to dinner, went to a show. Her mom and I hadn't seen each other in a while. We're all together. The minute there's intermission at this show, I'm happy. Lori wants to stay with our coats in the seats. Haley wants to go to the ladies' room with me. I'm just happy I've got a little bit of time with her. This is like the 10 minutes of the whole evening that it's just me and her, and we haven't seen each other or caught up face to face in maybe 6 weeks. So I'm excited. I'm going to walk with her. What's she doing the entire time? Posting on Instagram that we're at the show. It took the entire walk to the ladies' room, standing in line to the ladies' room, and on the walk back, she was telling me who responded. And I thought to myself, what a shame that you and I did not talk to each other about one thing. That's where, and I'm not upset with her, that's how she wanted to spend her time not connecting to me on, have you been, what did you think of the place where I work? Like, did you like me to, she could choose to spend that time any way she wanted. Human face-to-face connection. A real connector connects with individuals and values them, and it kind of starts to go on to describe a little bit more about I highlighted it back in page 45, I believe, 43. It talks about people that have loose tie connections to a lot of people. You know them, you get to know them well, but then you don't keep up with them all the time. Facebook has a lot of loose tie connections. They're not people who you really are close friends with all the time. They're people who you have loose ties with because you happen to see what's going on in their lives. Now, Facebook is changing the whole realm of being connected. It's really giving us more information about people than connectedness at the heart level. You know who's on vacation, who's married, who's divorced, who's going to school. I mean, I did find out from Haley that my other niece, Jennifer, who's always had really long hair, donated her hair to Locks of Love recently, and it's cut short. See, I didn't know that. I reached out to Jennifer with a personal phone call on her birthday because I want to connect with people in a human way. She didn't say, hey, I cut my hair and donated it. But see, she wouldn't. But see, in my heart, I know that as a cancer survivor, that Jennifer does the cancer run each year, and Jennifer gives her hair. Like, I know when she did that, she did it with me in mind. But see, I didn't know that. Like, everybody on Facebook just said, hey, nobody drew the connection. Haley didn't realize that's why Jennifer would do that. She just knew, hey, and she started with, hey, did you see Jennifer's new haircut? So it's a means of sharing knowledge. It's a means of spreading a word far and wide. But it's not the age-old connectivity of who you know. And we need to be aware of it. We need to use both of those in our strategy. One isn't wrong or better than the other. They kind of have to strategically marry up with each other. Wait, what else did you get from the
Let's see.
connector aspects of
So
Paul Revere?
I was getting to the part where they talked about Milgram and his experiment with the degrees of separation between people.
What did you think of that?
Yeah, it was interesting. He said something about mailing things to a stockbroker and seeing how many hands it passed between.
Yeah, what do you guys think of that? How many of the letters that were mailed? So, I mean, this is back in the pre-internet days. So you got to think about relationships are still at the heart level. If you had a family heirloom that meant a lot to you, but you couldn't personally use it, maybe it's a grand piano and you can't get it up the steps where you live. And you wanted to see that it went to somebody that meant a lot to you, that would enjoy it. Would you go on Facebook and offer it up? Or would you think about the people you actually knew that mattered to you? And would you go looking for someone you knew that mattered in your life who also had an interest maybe in playing the piano?
Look for the person.
You would be you would be looking for a deeper level or a connectivity, and you probably would say to a few close family members, hey, who do you think I ought to give this to? And if you said that to a few close family members, I bet they would all start to come back with the same recommendation. Haven't we all seen something like that happen? Like, everybody's telling me I ought to think of you. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, the opposite of this lady here. I had something special that I wanted to give my daughter, and she didn't wear it, right? I kept asking her, why are you not wearing it? It was a Diva fur, right? So I worked and worked and worked. So I was in the laundromat. I gave it to another young lady. So my thing is, it's not about, yes, it's valuable. You understand what I'm saying? But I take it like another young lady, I didn't know why my daughter didn't want to wear it, but somebody else will appreciate it because it just annoyed me.
Well, and that goes to making a choice that's relevant. We're going to get to that later in the book.
Yeah,
that example will be more on point later in some of the reading that we're doing next week.
Okay.
So what else? Melissa, what did you think about these 6 degrees of separation and how the letter ended up, how random people that didn't even know each other ended up knowing the same 3 or 4 people?
I thought that was really good because we got the word out just by sending to other people.
But how bizarre is it to think that everybody indirectly knows the same small group of really well-connected people?
In the book.
Is that hard to imagine?
No.
Robert, what do you think of that? Is that hard to imagine?
I was dozing off with her.
Well, it's best to stay awake unless you can't connect when sleeping.
I found it to be really interesting that the older people, they were more connected than the younger people. I guess as you get older,
You grow more connections, yeah. In the age of 20 to 40, you double the number of connections that you tend to have. That's true. Because as you grow a little bit older, you're going to obviously get to know more people.
I found that to be somewhat opposite for me. As I grow older, I cut more people off.
You still know them.
Yes. Closer, yeah.
That's you're talking about. You get Lisa? Sorry, guys. As you grow older, you may be more choosy about who you spend your time with. That's a friend. That doesn't mean you don't know a lot more people. Because you've encountered them. Like you know who to call if. And it may be, that's again the theory of the loose tie connection. Some people have only strong tie connections. Have you ever had a person in your life who once you meet them, they're constantly offended if you don't spend all your time with them?
Yes.
Those people don't really feel good about loose tie connections. I've got a couple my closest friends I don't talk to every day. I have a lot of loose tie connections with people that I can call up, and I've got a bond with them that is kind of deep and unbreakable, but how often I talk to them, a year could go by. So you have to work the relationship a little bit or it becomes an acquaintance, not a real connection. But managing loose tie connections is mandatory for a connector because connectors have too many relationships to actively nurture all of them all the time. And it doesn't mean maidens who know a lot of info and want to help are sometimes the people that want all of your time. Because they just want to they want to know a little bit and help you all, they want to be really instrumental in your life.
Yeah, but it's excuse me, it's a point with the mavens. I get the difference.
Yeah.
It's a point with the mavens. The mavens, they tend to, they want to help. They strict. They not judgmental.
That's
Whereas
right.
though the connectors, they more so like, some of them are afraid to, who they talk to and what message they get across.
Well, that would not be a true connector.
No,
let's
that's not a
hold
true
it. Yeah, let's
okay.
hold that thought. That is not a true connector. Because true connectors are never afraid to meet new people.
Okay.
True connectors believe that their universe can include endless potential of new people. Because that's what connectors do. And connectors will start talking to new people and immediately on meeting each other, figure out in about 10 minutes that they know someone else in common. And then you grow the circle. All right, guys, we will pick up with more reading from the tipping point next week. You have one major assignment between now. You're going to have a major and a minor assignment. Your major assignment between now and Tuesday is, say it out loud, finish the book. Your minor assignment between Tuesday and now, 4 ace reader stories. 4. Okay? I want to see results on 4 stories, no less.
And one even
Wait.
tinier one, bring the tipping point to
Oh
class,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely. From this, yes, we'll repeat that from last time. Bring the tipping point with you to class every single week. The back row, did we get that?
Yes.
What do we bring into class? Tipping point. Everybody? Good.
I'm
Tipping
gonna bring
point.
you an ace reader when I don't have one at home.
You've got time to get in 4 stories between now and Tuesday at school. You gotta work it in. Yeah, nobody has it at home. You gotta work it in while you're at school. I know. What? It's just like going to work. The boss says you gotta do it. What? Do I have what?